Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to CynCity episode 4 or 5, one of them. But I'm so excited to be back. It's a new year. I'm feeling refreshed. I took a break for a couple weeks to regroup and I'm getting back on track. I am so excited to have my guest today, Erika Baldino.
Hi.
How are you, girl?
I'm so excited to be here, give you guys some knowledge. This is awesome.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, Erica, you are from Kensington Vanguard
Correct.
Title Services. And I'm just learning you are a celebrity.
I try.
You are. I'm like, I see you on Facebook. I'm like, I think this chick got a show now. So I'm super proud of you. The show is called American Dream New Jersey. It airs Thursdays
at 7:00. Yep, it can be streamed live straight from the website, or you can find it on Roku. It's on Amazon. So just Google me, host of American Dream TV New Jersey, and you will find it.
Awesome. I'm so happy for you.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
I'm going to sit down. I don't have Roku, but I definitely have Amazon.
Perfect.
So I'm going to sit down and watch it. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
you are my personal title agent, and I want you to be everybody else's. So, but please tell us what title is.
Sure. So the audience knows I actually did Cynthia's personal purchase. So when she says that I am her agent, I really, really am. We've worked together personally, and now we work together professionally. So it's a beautiful relationship. So I tell people the easiest way to explain title insurance is that it insures the past and not the future, right? So you get insurance on your phone in case you drop it, and you get health insurance in case you get sick. With title insurance, you get that in case the seller did something wrong that happened in the past that you didn't know about. So there's many types of issues that could happen. Sellers could owe child support, right? Maybe the seller didn't pay for a new roof to be put on. There's a roof lien. Maybe the sellers took out a mortgage and never paid it off. My job is to do all of that research for your client, the buyer, so that when they own that property, they know that they own it free and clear of any debt. We also look for ownership. We want to make sure that your client owns it free and clear, outright owner. You don't want your client 5 years from now that some lady comes knocking on the door and says, hey, my grandmother willed me this piece of property. It's not yours anymore, it's mine.
Exactly.
The insurance is in place so that if all of that does happen, if there's a creditor that comes collecting for the person that lived there before you, or if there's a family member that comes and says it was their uncle's estate, you sue me because you have the insurance, and I will pay that for you because I made a mistake.
Okay. Now, is that something that we all have to go through that process when we're buying a home?
So when you buy with a mortgage, title insurance is required by your lender. There's two sets of policies. There's an owner's policy that protects you. There's a lender's policy that protects the lender. The lender always requires title insurance because they're lending you a ton of money, and they want to make sure that there's none of that bad stuff that happened in the past is going to get in the way of them getting their money back. Then it's only a $25 simultaneous issue to buy the owner's policy. So why not, right? Most attorneys would say just go ahead and do it. When you buy cash, it is not required. There are cash buyers that do elect to go forward without insuring the property. And it's a risk that they take. There's also a lot of investors that go, no, we're not going to spend the extra couple thousands of dollars. And unfortunately, when it's time to go sell, if there's any issue that happened on the property, they're left wide open.
Absolutely. How often do you see that? Do you see it?
Well, I don't see it because I do title insurance, so I don't know.
That's true.
But I hear about it. Yeah, I hear people buy stuff at sheriff sales. I hear people buy stuff on the internet. They'll just deed stuff into their name without looking at the history of the property. And I've heard some pretty scary stories where it's time to go sell, and there's, $100,000 IRS lien that's attached to the property from somebody prior, and they have to pay it off.
And at that point, it's too late to come back to you
Too late.
and say, Erica,
nope, it's
I
way
messed
too late.
up.
Yeah. And the beauty with title is it's not like homeowners insurance where you pay yearly. You have renewals and you pay into that either monthly or yearly. We are a one-time fee paid at closing, and that's it. The only other time you have to pay for title insurance again is if you refinance, and that's because the lender needs a new policy. But your owner's policy is in place for the life of the property.
Good. So 30 years, 40 years,
30 years, yeah, however long. And God forbid I do make a mistake. The beauty with working with my company is that we're the largest national title company in America. So we're not going anywhere. So God forbid there is an issue, you're going to be able to contact my company. there's a lot of small mom and pop shops that just fold, and good luck trying to find,
you know a couple.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people come and go, right? And the strong survive. The people doing good business survive. So unfortunately, there are people that just fold, and now you have to basically hire an investigator to figure out who took their files and who's going to pay out.
Wow.
It
sounds really messy.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the messiest situation you've seen that you, without saying names or anything?
So I can give a couple examples of horror stories. One that I think is kind of easier to grasp is a shared driveway, right? Many times there are houses that aren't big enough to each have their own driveway. So they have one that's split down the middle and then it curves into two garages. Sometimes though, the shared driveway is really what we call an easement. So really it's one person's driveway and they're just being nice enough to let the other person use the driveway. So we had an example where the real estate agent was misinformed and she told the new buyers, yeah, it's a shared driveway. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. You'll have access to the garage. And they bought the property for $350,000.
They'll have access to the driveway to get to their garage.
Correct. Okay. Because as you know, the value of a house rises when there's a garage versus not a garage. So they paid $350,000 for this house. The title company was a bad title company, and they didn't catch the fact that there was no easement allowing that buyer to use that driveway. It was in fact their next door neighbor's property.
Is that something that title has to search for? Is there a
driveway? We look for ease of access and right of ways as well to make sure that yes, you have a property and you can use it.
Gotcha.
So that night the people moved in. They were loud and obnoxious and rowdy and crazy and had a crazy party. And the old lady next door, whose driveway it was, the next morning, parked her car, of course, yes, love it. So Patty Betty parks her car right squat in the middle of this driveway.
I love it.
So, of course, the new homeowners walk next door, knock on Patty Betty's address and said, hey, could you move your car? You're in the way. We can't get our car out of the driveway. And she holds up this piece of paper and she goes, actually, my survey says it's my driveway. I was nice because I liked the other owners that owned before you, and I let them use it, and I let them build an extension off of it, but I don't need to let you do anything.
Absolutely not.
There you are. There you have it. There was no recorded easement in the county. So now, of course, they go back to their attorney crying, and they go, this lady won't let us use it. Is she allowed to do that? And the attorney was like, yeah, actually, it's her property, and you don't have access to that easement. So unfortunately, their house is now not valued at $350,000 anymore, right? Because they don't have access to their driveway.
They have one, but
right. And Patty Betty's not going to sign what we call an easement to give them access because she doesn't like these people. So their house dipped to a value of $300,000.
Wow.
And the title company had to pay out a $50,000 claim to rectify the fact, because they overpaid for an asset that shouldn't have been valued at what it was valued.
They should have just bought Betty some pies or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you made nicey with Petty Betty, then maybe she would have signed the easement over. But you don't want to do that after you bought the property. You wanted to get that all set and taken care of before it's even your asset, because the sellers who she had a good relationship with probably could have made sure it was a formalized easement. So that's an example of title gone wrong, not doing their due diligence, working with a bad company, and then that company having to pay a claim, which is not anything we want to do, right? We don't want the new home buyer to, it's a headache though, to now cry and know that you own a property you can't use your,
I would be heated.
Right. And then to go through the legal to now go and fight. I mean, there's money involved.
Absolutely.
So that's just one. I mean, I have so many more. I could sit here all day.
We even had one together with that duplex.
Yeah. So
situation.
We had an issue where, and this happens sometimes in the state of New Jersey, where developers will take a 2-family property and they file a master deed, and now they call it a condo, right? So in the issue that Cynthia and I had, the master deed was just wrong. I mean, it was a very poorly.
The properties were like mixed up.
And the properties it was like number 1 and number 3.
What house are you buying?
Yeah, and then on the house number they put 3 and 1, so you tried to sell the wrong house. And
I'm so glad you were on that.
And
they would have bought the wrong house.
Yeah, and we had a really in-depth conversation. Even the selling attorney didn't know how to handle it, and I think we saved the buyers a major headache, and I think they were very grateful like at the end of the day, you're looking at these properties and they're pretty and they're gorgeous and that's where you want to be, but not if the ownership is in question.
That's the most important. That's what you're trying to get, the ownership.
Yeah, and in this case, your client really, thank God they had you, because you had me. And with the whole team just, I think, pulled together for that client.
Oh, that was an interesting team. But we made it work. We made it do what it did. So how do you get into title? Like I said, not a lot of people even know, what it is. They're focused on buying the house. They're focused on their attorneys. But once it gets to like that title stage, people are like, I don't understand what's going on. This girl Erika is calling me, asking me questions.
Right.
How do you like get into that?
Meaning, how did I know I wanted to go into title?
Yeah, how did you get into it?
So the joke I tell is I always wanted to grow up and be a title insurance person. People are like, really? I'm like, no, I didn't even know what that was, right? It's such a gray area in our industry. It's the reason that, I don't sponsor a stadium or have a billboard or have commercials, because nobody understands what it is. And very rarely do clients know that they can price shop title insurance. So as I was growing up, I didn't know what title insurance was. I didn't find out about it until I was in college. And I always loved to sell. I think I have a good personality. I always like to run around and meet people and connect and be a connector. We were talking about that a little bit earlier before the show. And somebody approached me and said, could you sell title insurance? And anybody that knows my history knows I have a very scientific brain. And I said, no, of course I can't just sell title insurance. I would have to actually understand it and know what it is. Exactly. I just can't sell fluff. So they sent me on an intensive, like a 2-week training where I was in the courts and I was pulling deeds and mortgages and I was looking at records and I was understanding the whole process. They were like, now could you sell it? I'm like, yes. Because I have something I can talk about and I understand the meat and potatoes of it.
That's how I feel about real estate. I was like, I'm going into business school, to really understand how everything comes into play. I think that's so important.
I mean, you help people with the largest financial transaction of their life. There's not many people out there that are going to have another $300,000 asset, party, yacht, whatever it is, other than their house. So you need to understand numbers and the process of it.
I don't want to just sell just to say like you have a house. Like, why is it important?
Right.
I think that's where we bond.
Right. Is on the education aspect of it. So that being said, I had gone into title insurance, and something I think that buyers don't understand or people refinancing don't understand is title insurance is state regulated. So the actual premium that you pay for the insurance is the same throughout the board, whatever company you go to. But there's ancillary charges that appear on the invoice. Some are state regulated, some aren't. We pride ourselves in having the skinniest invoice out there, and we tell people you should definitely hold everybody accountable and make sure that there's not junk fees. So I'm always encouraging any buyer out there, whether they're working with you or not, to tell their attorney or to just go and get their quotes themselves and to go with the most reputable company. Because like I said earlier, if there is something wrong, there's nobody to go after if they're a company that folds.
Absolutely. So myth busted. You can choose your own title company. The fees are regulated. Look for junk fees and talk to Erika. That's what I gathered from
that.
Exactly. And we like I was saying before, I think we bond on the education aspect of homeownership. Like we can go on for hours talking about real estate, why more people need to buy. But tell me, like, I guess drop a jewel. Like, why is it important for people to own?
Sure. So you always want to own an asset, right? Because you're paying into a mortgage and someday you're going to own that asset outright. And I'm a big advocate of home ownership because as we progress in real estate cycles, the property values will rise and fall, but at the end of the day, they're never going to go to zero. And your stock account could go to zero. There's other investments that, yes, can go to zero. Your house is not going to go to zero. So I encourage home ownership because then you're invested in the town, you're invested in the neighborhood.
Absolutely. I would say that, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of positives there. And if you're not happy with the way that things are, you're now paying taxes. You now have a voice. You now can elect your officials. I mean, it really strengthens, home ownership strengthens the neighborhood.
I agree.
And listen, if you're afraid you can't afford a lot, go buy a multifamily because then you can buy a bigger purchase price because you're offset with tenant rent. And that's one of the best moves for first-time home buyers to do, is go look for that multifamily.
Exactly.
And listen, are you going to have to share a wall for a while? Maybe the first 5 or 6 years, sure. But now you're going to have an asset that you can pull from, and you're going to be able to finally buy that big, gorgeous primary residence that Cynthia's going to get you.
Absolutely. Yes, Erika and Cynthia.
Yeah, but you have to start small. You have to start small with the, you know, maybe the 2-family purchase that you're going to live in and then eventually rent and keep climbing. And there's no shame in that game at all.
And right now, I mean, do you see on your end there's a shortage of inventory for the multifamily? So everybody's like, oh, I'm just going to hold off. I'm like, no, you still want an asset. You still have to live somewhere, get a condo,
correct.
A single family home.
Yeah. And even if you slightly pay over like what the multifamily is worth, a lot of investors won't because they're not owner occupied.
Correct.
But when it becomes owner occupied, you have some wiggle room that you can slightly overpay for the investment, but you're going to offset it with tenant rent.
Girl,
yep.
You sound like me.
Yep.
Don't she sound like me, Tayshawn? Tayshawn, love her. I have to shout Tayshawn out. Like, he's the man behind the cam. He's my therapist. Like, I run everything by him, and we have this conversation all the time. I'm like, you gotta have an asset.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm just chuckling because I'm like, I told you.
You do have to have an asset. It starts somewhere, right?
Exactly. And then you just keep accumulating from there. Oh, I had an awesome, there. I told you my notes. Thank goodness I wrote.
Oh yeah,
the 1031. You were talking about being a first-time home buyer. You know, you're owner occupied, but you also provide services for investors.
Sure. So I do a significant amount of commercial business as well. So while I love my first-time home buyers, my downsizers, my second home buyers, I do a lot of multifamily. The company as a whole does a lot of bigger projects in the state. We've done the Pier at Caesars, we've done the Xanadu complex, which is now American Dream.
Wow. I haven't been yet.
Yeah, I know. I have to go too.
We'll go together. We'll go together.
Yeah, we'll go ride the rides and pay like $25 to park. Yeah. But yeah, so we've insured a lot of these major projects, and what investors do, and really it's to pass wealth down generationally. So in this country, we kind of have a little bit of a financial illiteracy issue where we don't understand money as a society, and therefore we're just in this mentality where we can never obtain the things we want. There are
preaching to the choir. I'm trying to okay, sorry.
There are tricks to all of this, and we just need to educate people on the tricks, right? So when you have an investment property and you sell it, you have to pay capital gains.
Correct.
And it's on a basis, which Cynthia, you could speak about because you are an accountant.
It's your investment, and how much skin in the game you essentially have.
Right. So the 1031 exchange allows you to sell that property and not pay any capital gains. You defer it, and you defer it into another project, and you defer it into another project. And the beauty of this is that when you pass away, your next of kin inherits that at a cost basis that's been reset. And that's really the way that you can set up your children in the future and not have them pay gains and pass real estate portfolios onto them.
Absolutely.
And even if it starts out with a small $100,000 investment multifamily, in the next 40 years, there's no reason why 100 can't turn into $1 million, and $1 million can't turn into 10 million as property values go, and you defer. You really set up, your kids.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, I'm like, our parents, grandparents, whomever, they bought homes at like 10, 20,000. Like back then, that was a lot of money.
Right.
200,000, to future generations.
Who knows?
That is cheap. Like, that's all you pay.
And interest rates too. I mean, listen, my mother paid 15% on her first house. Rates here, are under 5 still,
which is phenomenal.
Right.
So like,
for me, that's free money. My credit card's at 22%. So I would rather buy a house and pay back 5% than
absolutely
be on credit for the rest of my life.
All right. Well, you made me think about the debt we were talking briefly about the student loan debt. Do you want to go into that?
Sure. So a lot of millennials, I think, are scared to buy houses because of the student loan debt. I was that person. I have a large amount of debt. I went to a private university. I got myself a bio degree, you know, biology with a minor in chemistry.
Journalism here.
Who cares? You have journalism, right? So like, it's a degree that I'm not using. Yes, but I'm paying for it. So I have always had to be my own advocate financially. When I got into college, my mom kind of just said, wow, I didn't go to college, like go figure it out. So I've been figuring it out. And I understand the student loan system. I think I understand money now, and I understand restructuring. So I've been able to give free advice to all of my friends that are scared to make the leap. I've been able to help them find lenders to refinance them, to then put them in a position where they can actually see light at the end of the tunnel, where now buying an asset now makes sense for them. Because nobody's going to foreclose on your degree. That's my saying. They're not going to take away your degree. You know, once you're a nurse, you're a nurse. Once you're a teacher, you're a teacher. You can't not all of a sudden become an unteacher because, oh, you didn't pay your student loans. Right. So let's figure out how to get your loans on a payment plan that's reasonable, that lets you take a deep breath, so that you can start dumping that extra money into an asset. Because by the time you're done paying off your degree, you're at zero. But by the time you're done paying off at a house, you're going to be at 200,000. I would rather want to be at 200,000 than zero. So if anybody has any questions on student loans, email me, call me, DM me, find me on social media.
Yes. Where can they find you on social media?
It's unsolicited advice. Sure. So my Instagram is at Erika Baldino. It's ErikaBaldino. You can find me under Facebook on the same. It's still Erika Baldino. Not really on Twitter. I don't really tweet.
You just made me sign up.
I just signed up for TikTok though, which was kind of crazy, and I have no videos, but I think my handle is Erika Baldino on there too. So
all right, that's a new
find
one.
me on TikTok.
I got on TikTok. Hold
on.
What is that?
Ay.
Is that the one that dancing? Like I see a lot of people dancing on it. Okay, that's
dancing. It used to be Musically. See, if you were friends with a 9-year-old girl, you would know all of this. I happen to have a lot of 9-year-old friends, so I know about this. So Musically was first, and now TikTok has bought it out, and now TikTok is becoming the new platform, people. So head on over to TikTok.
Oh Lord, one more outlet for me to put on my list to understand. All right, thank you, Erika. You just made my day. So as we wrap up, I think the conversation was phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Anything else that we may have not covered? Any jewels you want to drop?
No, I think that's everything. I think we could sit and do 4 more podcasts about different things, but let's not do informational overload. Everyone needs to just get their student loans together. They need to buy an asset. They need to make sure their title is clear and that it's done with a person that actually knows what they're talking about, so that, you know, you can get your house and be happy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. You can find me, Cynthia Lubin, your favorite realtor, on Instagram, Cynt4Homes, CYNT4Homes. You can also find me on Facebook, Cynthia Lubin, Realtor Associate. That's my business page, my personal page. It's another story. But I don't have TikTok, Twitter. What else is it? Oh, LinkedIn. We got LinkedIn, Cynthia Lubin.
That's for all you corporate people out there.
Google me, Google us. And thank you.